Vegas, no duh. Yo, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, y'all? I told you we were gonna be back. So we're gonna be doing a live video today about my boy Kevin Samuels, all right? And it's called Let's Talk About You Know What. I don't know who this young lady is, man, and I don't want to butcher her name, but Kevin had her on the show, so I did want to check that thing out, man. Shout out to my dog Kevin Samuels, man. RH. But yeah, we gonna jump into this thing, man. We're gonna jump into this live video today. It's actually kind of short. It's not like that 3 hour long video that we did. We started 3 days ago or something like that. Yeah, it's not that long, man. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into this video. I'm gonna give people a chance to go ahead and get in here. Y'all already know, man. We're gonna take about 10 minutes, and I'll see you guys in a second. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yo. Yo. Wait. Hold on, y'all. I'm fucking excited. Give me a second. Alright. We back. Alright, y'all. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. Well, I feel like it's been a minute. I hope everybody's doing well, man. We're going to go ahead and get into this thing. Y'all already know we got to keep that high quality H2O over here while we're rocking. Anyway, man, I hope all is well. Hope everybody's day been going pretty smooth, man. Look like we got some comments here. Let's see what we got, man. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys for hitting that like button, man. Hopefully, you guys have already subscribed to the YouTube channel. Y'all already know, man. Business as usual. Let's get it. All right, we're going to go through some of these comments. My favorite YouTuber. What's good, KD? Chill. Appreciate it, man. Hey, appreciate you, baby Jack, man, for coming through. Appreciate you, bro. Who else we got in the building? Melanie. What's good, Melanie? Hope all is well. Wait, what's going on? Okay. We got a little flirting going down in the bottom. I ain't gonna touch it. Hey, I'm gonna let my boy do what he do, man. Hey, I'm not gonna touch that. We got some love connections over here. Hey, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. If you like it, I love it. Anywho. We the people, what's up? Dog said, what's good, man? What's good, bro? What's goody? We about to get it in. Let's see, Katie, been missing Kevin, man. Thanks for this, for real. Salute, man. Y'all already know, man. I have much respect for Kevin Samuels, man. Much respect. Took this doggone platform by storm, man, and started the conversation. That's what it's all about, man. Just starting the conversation. So don't start without your boy. You know we ain't gonna get it started, man. We gonna wait on you, dog. We gonna wait on you for about a few more seconds. We would have waited on you for a few more seconds, man. You got here at a decent time. I appreciate you for coming through, bro. Let's see. Come on, man. Y'all see it, bro. Y'all see it. That's how it's supposed to be, man. Help me out, dog. Hit that like button. Y'all see it. Hit that like button. I see some people say, I did. I'm about to. Done. That's what's up, man. We got some more love connections going on there. That's what's up, man. And when is the next challenge? Great question, man. Great question. We are still currently just doing the 3 miles, man, until I figure out exactly what the next challenge is. 3 miles, just exercising, drinking plenty of water each and every day, adding fruits, raw vegetables to the workout, man. We still doing all of those good things. We're going to talk about it, though. We're going to get into it. But for now, let's go ahead and get into this doggone video, man. Let's go. So today we are talking about you know what. Brace yourselves, man. Brace yourselves. If there are kids in the room right now, I need for you to step out. All right? If there are kids in the room right now, I need for them, get the kids out the doggone room. We're about to have a grown conversation real quick. All right? This is going to be pretty grown, I'm pretty sure. It's in the title, so it got to be. All right? So, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Just brace yourself. All right? Let's get it. Damn. All right, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I figured we were going to run into that issue, and I already know what the problem is, thankfully. I've been doing this doggone live stream long enough that I know exactly what that problem is, so let me fix that really quick. Don't worry, I got y'all. Got it. Bam. I don't know why they continue to do that each and every time. Stop playing with me, bro. All right, now we should be good. Let me do this. There we go, KD. All right, y'all give me 1 second. We good, bro. We good. Let's get it. Let's take that off. Bam. All right. Start that thing over, man. All right, remember, get the kids out right now. I don't want any children in here while we're going through this thing, man. All right, adult ears only. If you are under that doggone age, if you have those virgin ears, you know what I mean? Get them out of the room. Get them out of the room, man.
I think the problem that we have with talking about sex a lot is that we have two different energies. We have sex and it's playful, it's lusty, it's exciting, it's wet, it's curious, it's fun, it's awkward, but in a funny way. And then we talk about sex and it's filled with insecurities and ego, and it's stiff and it's competitive and it's dry. Right?
You're going to be shocked as hell that I'm sitting down here with you.
I'm sure many people would be.
I don't know what they are. They haven't been listening.
These are good times, man. These are some good times, dog.
You don't know how to do a relationship because you don't really know one another. We really are not in a place to where we understand who you are or who I am. And I think it's fascinating because it's making life a little bit interesting now because you get to learn some new stuff. Now, if you're a person that doesn't like to learn, if you like to be, those are the people who have the problems with this whole thing. They're like, why are you talking about relationships all the time?
Again, guys, the reason why relationships are talked about so much is because people are getting it wrong so freaking often now. And the reason why is because the world is upside down. All right, they're trying to get rid of gender roles. They're trying to get rid of masculinity, and it's this feminist empowerment, all this, what do they call it, body positivity crap and all these other things. And the women are really not listening to the men. All right, and then you got the losers out there that are encouraging bad behavior, and that is the reason why we have gotten to where we are today. All right.
Because if you're going to do something, you should want to be better at it. That's part of the reason why I want to sit down with you, because your content is where you guys on my side will look for women. Yes.
My stats would say it's for women.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be very clear about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing is, all right, so what do you think men misunderstand or misinterpret about women and sexuality?
I think that men have, the number one thing is that there's a very big difference in that women don't have sexual desire, or women aren't horny, women don't experience sexual desire and fantasies the same way that they do.
Whoa, wait a minute, hold on. I apologize. I do feel like my audio is peaking a little bit. We're going to try to figure that out and see what's going on with it.
And as a result, women are supposed to be the defenders of monogamy and the protectors of purity. And if she's not, then she's not a good woman. Whereas a man has the space to be the gamut of things when it comes to a sexual person. And they can be overly sexual, that they can be underly sexual. I mean, maybe that's not true, because an underly sexual man often, of course, also will get criticized. But there's this assumption that
regardless of what a man does, he's always going to be criticized. And again, that's the problem that we are having today. Men have been criticized for everything, and for whatever reason, that doggone little flip that has happened, we're not holding women accountable for anything, or they don't want us to hold women accountable for anything that they do. That's it.
men's sexuality is diverse and each person has their own story, but women's sexuality is a monolith.
Well, as we were kind of talking before this began, listening to my mother and her friends talk about sex and sexuality, I learned quickly that that wasn't true. Then I always referred back to my college experience when I had a sorority use my condo, my townhome, for a lobbying. And I listened to a whole weekend of how these women were talking about. I was shocked. Because when a man likes a woman, it's like, hey man, what happened to you and old girl? The less we say, the more we like you. And people are like, oh yeah, you know, we kicked it.
She was cool.
Okay, we don't ask further questions.
Well, man, that's facts, dog. Really, you don't need to know a mother-loving thing about what happened between me and this young lady that can potentially do a little bit more. Hey, what happened between you and Seven? I don't know. She was straight. She was cool. Oh, that's what's up.
But when the women, I noticed they would size, taste, this, that, that. I'm like, well, I'm shell-shocked.
You said that.
Man, when I tell you, I've heard a woman criticize a guy over his shoe size because he didn't have big feet, bro. I'm like, what? Yeah, you know that he was circumcised, he still had small feet. I was sitting over there like, just minding my own business, man.
What was the encouragement for you to study sex?
Well, I'd already started. I got the Kama Sutra when I was a preteen. It was further confirmed when I was at school, and when I went back to campus on that Monday, and I'm walking around looking at all these guys, some who thought they were ladies' men, great men. I'm like, I have no idea what they really think about you. And it made me curious.
And listen, even as a little kid, man, moms, when it was time to go to bed, 8:30 or whatever, we would all have to go to bed. I would still stay up, crack that door, and listen to my mom and her friends have girl time. So I was listening to a lot of, how women talk and how they operate and everything. I'm just like, yo. So at a young age, I was exposed to a lot of things that was going on during those type of conversations with grown women. So,
So we started talking about relationships in the 90s. When Shahrazad Ali's book dropped, Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman, it became a big thing for us to start talking about relationships. And from that point on, I didn't know at the time, because I was still young, that there was such a disconnect. But we could go on about that one forever. But I have one question.
Facts. Again, he's talking about that disconnect with everything again. So I listen, I absorb every single last conversation that's being had. Anytime somebody say anything to me, I may not say anything back immediately because I'm trying to process everything, but those conversations and everything that my mom and her friends used to have back then, it kind of led me to the point to, after high school and college and all this other stuff, I kind of took a lot of that information and was able to maneuver and get around a lot of barriers that certain people had in order to get whatever it is that I wanted out of them. Not proud of it, but again, everything is pretty much a life lesson. You got to go through things or whatever to get a better understanding and appreciate things and appreciate people a lot more after you done kind of went through those things. But again, everything that he was saying, I'm
One thing I want to hear your opinion on, and my audience may be shocked. There's this notion about a woman's body count.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
What is the science behind it? I mean, okay, talk to my audience about body count, because I don't even know how to frame the question. God, before having a child, so a lot of guys seem to operate like this. The more she has sex, less height she will be, she can't pair bond, this, that. And I'm hearing data and stuff on both sides, but what are the misconceptions or the misnomers? What are the misses of body count?
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna honestly say this. I don't think it's ever good to. Oh man, how can I put this, man? It's unfortunate when you know a woman's body count because one is too many. One is too many. I don't want to know anybody that you have sex with or whatever. And it's the more some or most women experience more sex from more guys, it's the colder they become, the further away they seem when it comes to their feelings. It's a little bit harder to bring that out in them, and it's unfortunate. Honestly, it's women want men that have went through trauma, but men do not want women that have been through too much because it's unattractive, and it's we can sense that on you. So that's why, a high body count is not a good thing.
If I thought about this, there's an incredible book that is called What Women Want by Daniel Bergner, and it's essentially a collection of sex research that promotes the idea that women's sexuality, women's sexual desire is equivalent, if not greater, than a man's. That on a woman, she has the body part, which is the clitoris, which is the only known body part which only functions pleasure. And as a result, women also have so much sexual access. And they did this incredible study where they hooked up both, like a physiological, it's called a, please help me out, the pleso-mesa.
Oh Lord, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I will say on a larger scale, most women, their sex drive is a lot higher than most men, believe it or not. Most women's sex drive is a lot higher than most men. A lot of guys find this out when that young lady is more exclusive or just exclusive to him and they spend a lot more time together. They find out very, very quickly that a woman's sex drive is a lot higher than most men.
It's a, what is it?
Slow down. You gotta put your damn foot on there. Back up.
Studies that rates your heart rate, it covers your heart rate, and then it's able to figure out like your blood volume and then your pulse rate. So
Whatever it is, we'll find it out.
it's the technology that's also used in smartwatches. So they hooked women up to that, which is PPG, and then they also hooked women, had a self-reporting test, and then they had them watch all this porn, various kinds of porn, which we used to think that porn was a male-dominated industry for men, by men, that women weren't consumers of it. So it's not true at all.
Yeah,
Which also speaks to the fact that women are turned on by the visual.
There you are.
Which that in itself was something that was debated, I think even a couple years ago. So they had women watch all this porn, and most women self-reported that they were not turned on by it, that they did not enjoy it. And then they found that majority of the women were, through the PPG, were turned on, that they were showing physiological signs of arousal. So that to be said that so much of the socialization around what women are told about their sexuality constrains and distorts and shapes what their biological is actually telling them. So I think that a lot of women have the potential to be very sexual, to be just as sexual. I know that there's an evolutionary psychology debate that, well, women have the brunt of childcare, and so they have to be more selective in their partnership. While there's truth in that, we have to also acknowledge a woman is ovulating 12 to 24 hours a month. Yes, sperm lives for 5 days, but nonetheless, it's not a constant burden, and of course, with birth control, those stresses have been alleviated to a massive degree. And the selectivity doesn't mean that you don't have multiple partners. It just might not mean that you have 17 partners, that you're giving a little bit more gravitas to your choice. So that to be said, I just think that we have to acknowledge that a lot of the socialization, the messages that we tell women about their sexuality is impacting how they're allowing the biological to show up.
One of the things that
I'm not gonna even cap right there. I'm a C student. I don't know what the hell, I don't know what the hell the point was behind everything that she was saying. Like, I understood everything, but did she answer the question? I might be tripping. I don't know.
And this, I think it's kind of maybe more unique to me. I'm just curious about stuff.
Me too. When it comes to like asking, I have now switched the way that I converse with a lot of people. Instead of me trying to insert my judgments and all those other things, before I do that, I always ask questions to get a better understanding as to why a person thinks the way that they think, or how have they arrived to whatever answer or conclusion or whatever. I want to know, how did you get there? Like, why? Where did this come from?
As you were talking, I'm thinking about, did you not know I read pieces of it, excerpts from it. I haven't read it yet, but I will after today. Let's get more into my reading. But even at the turn of the century, hysteria, and like, I've studied sex. I mean, and it's like, men believe they're right on some side, because it's almost like this Madonna whore thing. Like, if a woman is too sexual, then this. It's like, well, my issue when I talk to men about female sexuality is, what is the outcome you want with the woman? And most guys report that they, at some point they may want a serious relationship. I'm like, so what do you really care? Body count, this and that. I don't think we talk about sex, truthfully. That's what it comes down to. Because the people I hear, male side, who don't care about body count, tend to be men who are in relationships and married. I mean, I do hear talk about body count tend to not have relationships or successful long-term relationships with women. I'm not saying causation. I'm just saying there's a correlation. I'm not saying any causation. I just think there's a huge gap. To that end, around the early 2000s, is that when passion parties and all that stuff started?
Like, is that like a teen trend, or?
Passion parties, as I understood it. Okay, so a passion party would be this. A young professional woman would have a friend come over, and she would be selling all these different sex toys. And, you know,
flying all over, man, lube and butt plug. What y'all doing?
I know someone who had one, like, I'll say your name. She had one down in Dallas. She invited all her girlfriends over.
You should say you're going to send her business.
That's over. She's married now. But see, the thing, she had a bunch of women come over.
Yeah, oh, girl, interesting, man. She would be a part of it. Girls, like, women literally go crazy over those type of parties, man. Seriously.
But she had the wine there, and the women came over with dildos and things. She said, learn how to give blowjobs.
Yes.
And then they were buying.
She talking about yes. You support this?
And they were putting orders for rabbits and bullets and creams and this and that. And then after the women sat and did their things right, whatever, then the men were invited over. And then they tried. Wait.
Tell me. No, okay, I did not know that about a passion party. The men, now, hold on, wait. From my understanding, I actually have a friend that talked about this, and it was just from what they said. Alright, this is the information, so they obviously didn't tell me the whole story, which is, you know, she had a friend to come over, or, you know, this business lady come over, and just basically show off everything that she was selling. So she would bring dildos, she would bring, you know, lube, she would bring like little butt plugs, the beads, or whatever. And they would all sit around, you know, have a little drink, a little wine or whatever, sit there and talk about, have discussions about sex, have discussions about the sex toys, and all of these different things. And they would come like dressed in like lingerie. They all would dress up in lingerie, meet up over there. House probably didn't smell too well, dog. So I'm joking. But I never heard that the men come afterward. That's the first.
And to a party. And it was
I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah.
That's good education. I thought it was just like a Tupperware party.
Yeah.
Ended at the sex toy sale. I didn't realize it turned into an orgy.
Yes.
See, it turned into a party, not an orgy, but it turned into like, it was like, okay, from 6 to 10 or from 7 to 12, we're going to do this part, and then the men were allowed to come. Come on, they've been drinking, they've been playing with people, they've been hooking up.
Did you attend some
Okay,
parties? Yeah?
What?
Y'all know this, yeah. I've lived a broad life. Don't let the soup food. Because I'm curious. I'm like,
Well, you know I'm curious about that, because I'm like, does that lend itself, because as we know, that 2/3 of women don't achieve orgasm from penetration alone.
Right.
And so they need clitoral assistance and stimulation. And toys can be a big part of that. And that's a very uncomfortable conversation for a lot of cis heterosexual men who've been told that their penis is like going to put out fires and end cancer and give multiple orgasms all by itself without any training whatsoever and any knowledge. So that to be said, did these parties lend itself? So it's like, I just bought this new thing, let's do this together. Like, did it open up kinks and...
yeah.
I'm just curious, man. I'm just curious. The women out there. Do y'all have toys? Are y'all still experimenting with toys? Like the women that are in relationships, have y'all ever like brought that to your man's attention and been like, hey, you know, I think we should try something new tonight, and brought that to, hey man, what the hell was that? Girl, you gonna get that out of this damn bed while I'm sleeping? I already know what most guys' reactions is gonna be like, hey, fam, no. There's someone one in this dog one and two ball. That's it. We ain't bringing none of that extra stuff around here, dog. That's most guys' reactions.
I already did, you know. You know, now I want to say there was, you know, I'm not gonna lie, there were people having sex in one room one time, but really it was, it opened up the conversation because
I may have to host some passion parties.
Well, because here's the thing, you see an attorney or an accountant or someone in marketing, and you see these women all the time, and instead of going to the club, they're over having a passion party, and they're learning how to how you gonna do it? How you gonna practice? So it's like, well, all right, they were choosing to get involved in these sexual relationships. Yeah. And guys, here's the funny thing. Men did.
I'm gonna tell you right damn now, dog. I would not even say probably. I would never attend anything like this. But if someone was to attend a party like it's just gonna be a hookup play. You ain't even trying.
I don't want to attend the same kind of parties. It's like, so you talk about most women report not reaching orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
You ask somebody about a female orgasm and they think it's penetration. Really? Some guys think it's control. Some guys where a G-spot is. Most of them like, what is that?
Or the Freudian approach, which is if it's not penetration, then you're immature.
Right.
That you haven't been able to, you're not a woman yet.
See, and we have so much, and another thing, especially coming from the Midwest and we have so much shame and stuff associated with sexuality. I'm like, all right, can we talk about it in a clinical sense to where you can understand it, to where if you do decide, even if you're married to your wife and she's a virgin, you're a virgin, why don't you just be good at it? And I think, especially on my side, I think the bigger issues is where there is no common ground, there's no common knowledge, there's a lot of fear. And I've said this before, fear, scarcity, and lack lead to anxiety and stress. And there's a lot of stress in men around sex, first time sex. A lot of guys report from this incel movement, phenomenon, whatever you want to call it, not wanting to disrobe in front of a woman because he feels like he's had sexual partners and he's not going to quote unquote measure up. Like,
let me tell you something, dog. Hey, that ain't no. I ain't even trying to be funny right now, but fam, never.
Where are we getting all of these things from? Do we have too much sexual information?
Not enough
sexual information, or are we getting the wrong sexual information?
Organize your business for just one
It feels like what's happening right now is there is not enough sexual information for one portion of the population and a lot of sexual information for another. And so I have gone to school for sex various times in my life. I became a sex ed counselor, and then I got an associate, and I became a sexologist, and then I've gone to so many classes. All classes have been women dominated, and some of the times you might see a smattering of men, and majority of those men are married. So that to be said, that I also understand from a young man's perspective that you're not encouraged to learn, that you're given this burden of responsibility that, like, if you're a man, you just know what to do. And so
I'm gonna say, I think that's cap, man. I think most of us got started with, trying to figure out what to do by watching porn, I would say. But it ain't like, you gotta you automatically know. I can't agree with that now.
You also, I think as a result of that, want to limit how much information your partner has, because it's a natural insecurity that you might have of like, man, I'm supposed to go in there and beat up the pussy and give her 17 orgasms, and I can barely even hold on for 30 seconds on my own, let alone in partnered play. So the idea of controlling that person's experiences so that they don't have more knowledge or something to compare you to sounds logical in that case. So I wish that there were more opportunities for men, because I can't even list you, especially for black men. Like, who's teaching black men about how to be better lovers?
Well,
who's making it accessible? Who's making it cool? Who's making it relaxed? Like, who's leading this dialogue of leading a male sexual liberation movement?
I mean, I've said it before. A couple of friends are like, we should open fucking school. I mean, you talk about with a white school and a charm school, I think we should. Because there's so much about sex school. We should open a sex school, so I've used that now. Show a sex school.
Although this is a fucking school, isn't it?
Because I'm like, there's so many guys who just, you're supposed to be sexual pro, and the older you get and the less sexual experience, the more it becomes, a lot of guys are just, I spent 2 years talking to incels in McDowell. Incels.
Identified? That's how they identified?
With our one-on-one sessions, yeah. And these guys were, I would say 80% were college educated. Vast majority earning $70,000, and socially they look like, but the inability to go out and what we consider meet a woman and progress into some sort of romantic relationship. Some guys report of having had sex in high school and in college, but when you delve into it, it was usually a woman who was she was kind of leading the process. He couldn't, quote unquote, make it happen. It wasn't that they wanted to. It's just because the longer it happened, the guys started feeling insecure and became like an Ouroboros. It just ate on itself. Next thing you know, what is it? 40-year version with Steve, whatever, became a real thing. And I was ignorant to this. But when I started hosting my show, I would have more guys calling in. These men, in my experience, want relationship. They want romantically significant, emotionally fulfilling relationships and a sexual relationship. They have female friends. They're often in the friend zone, but they just doesn't get close. And no one's teaching this. No one's talking to it. And a big part of it is that you're not knowing how to do stuff.
It's admitting, right? Because, I mean, how many men would be comfortable reading a book on the subway that said, how to please a woman?
Well, it's not many. But it's also, where are you going to go to try it out? I'm a fan of legalizing the sex trade. Legalize it. I mean, regulate it. I want to see, trafficking and all that kind of crazy stuff, but I call it the oldest profession for anything. I know there's a lot of, I don't want to say ignorance, misunderstanding on men's side. Because even when I sit down and talk to guys, I know I've studied and looked at it a hell of a lot more than they have. Because I'm a scientist at heart. I find it kind of interesting. But there's that part, and then there's actually getting it done in the real world. Here's another part. We talked about sex as an act. Let's talk about other components. Foreplay, we'll get to that. Intimate, erotic, dirty talk. Extremely difficult for most men.
Yes, for people. It's another language.
Yes.
Spanish is hard, right? It's an entirely other language in itself, and it's a language that you've been probably conditioned to know your whole life. Is bad. These are words that you don't say unless you want to offend somebody. So if I'm in the most intimate space with that person,
Let me tell you something, dog. In the moment, you can get away with a lot of stuff, dog. You can get away with a lot of names called bad, man. Just go right out the window.
mine for me, number one. Number two, I didn't even know any other words.
Well, and I would say, for me, I had to learn. I think I'm a pretty good communicator. That one, I had to learn. Because, I'm glad I did. Because, for women, especially when I've dealt with, that's been an important part of it. That's why I said there's just so much of this that we're all expected to just know this stuff. So you mentioned you were a sex ed teacher?
No, I went to various sex ed counselor.
Sex ed counselor. When I was in school, we actually had sex ed. Yeah, I don't think sex ed is still in schools.
Well, it's called health and, yeah.
Yeah, they still do it.
I remember that film where a woman gave birth and all that kind of stuff. I want to look that up. I don't know if it's still...
Jerry, you was in school. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you in Canada?
Yes, in Canada.
Oh.
I'm going to look this one up. Because the sheer amount of not knowing. And men, we are big on respect, and our egos are huge. We like to not know how to do stuff. So it's intrinsic to a lot of guys. We don't know, we shy away.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. If I don't know something about something, I'm gonna start doing some research. Like, seriously. And I try to do it before somebody even brings it to my attention. I mean, there are gonna be some instances where, you might think that you got it down pat, and then somebody will tell you. I believe that I'm open when it comes to a lot of different things. So if it's something that I don't know, something that I could potentially learn that's gonna help me be better, and I'll be a little bit more open. I think that it still falls up under that umbrella. It's not what you say, but it's how you say some things. You know what I mean? So I think that's a men and women type of thing. There's been times maybe where, your significant other has did something that you don't like. Be a little bit verbal about it. Just make sure that you're effectively communicating to that person, and you're not, hopefully you're not trying to hurt their ego. but still let them understand, like, hey, you know, when you did this, I didn't like that. You know what I mean? Find a way to phrase that thing. Vice versa, man. It should be the same both ways. You know, you're not trying to hurt that person's ego, but you want them to understand that, you know, if we're trying to achieve 777 cents or whatever, you know, try this or whatever.
Especially the area that you've been told is so tightly tied with your masculinity.
Especially as a black man.
Especially as a black man.
You're supposed to be a sexual pro.
Yes.
No. And I talk about these issues when I talk to men, like, I would actually start speaking about it. Stop putting that burden on yourself that you're a sex pro. You're not porn star.
I never thought about it that way.
You don't play football at the pro level. You know, come on.
Well, technically.
Because we have to start getting to a point where
I was there. Yeah.
it is so foreign to where people are just comfortable to not try. Because while we do have a lot of information, I think we're also at a point where we have so much information. It's almost like people are becoming numb because, like,
There's so many options.
what am I supposed to do with it?
So many
They
options.
don't know how to do the initial thing. Hi, how are you? Hey, how are you? Let's go out and do that.
Which is why Dirty Talk is actually probably, if you make the fucking school, it should be the first course that you take because that is the gateway to the dance that has to happen. Communicating what you like, what you don't like. Taking the things that you read on some Instagram carousel that said there's an E-spot, which is what I saw today. I've never heard of it before for the female anatomy. Today, Today I heard about the E-spot. So how do we take this language that we see and then turn it into constructive dialogue in the bedroom? And that's where Dirty Talk can help do that. I think the problem that we have with talking about sex a lot is that we have two different energies. We have sex and it's playful, it's lusty, it's exciting, it's wet, it's curious, it's fun, it's awkward, but in a funny way. And then we talk about sex and it's filled with insecurities and ego, it's stiff, it's competitive, and it's dry.
So, and one of the biggest things coming from the Bible Belt, getting women to openly be truthful and admit what they really like, getting men to understand and trying it.
Yeah.
I talk one way with one another, and over here, just like you're talking about the self-reporting, you're saying no, but the test is saying something else. So maybe that should be part of the sex school. Hooking you up to a monitor, find out what you really like.
What was this? Are you familiar with the Horrible Decisions?
No.
Well, they're a female podcast.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's two of them.
It's not Vandy and
Yes, easy.
Yeah, she hates me. According to she was on the ad on 22, no jumper. She thinks I'm a horrible person. Not a horrible person, you just don't know me.
Right.
She'll probably be shocked as hell that I'm sitting down here with you.
I'm sure many people would be.
I don't know what they are, they haven't been listening.
Well, I'm obsessed with this topic, and I am fascinated by it, and I want to be a part of the dialogues people are having, and you are leading many of those dialogues. So to not be ears open, it doesn't mean that we can't have discourse about it. It's an undeniable impact that you've had in this space, and this is a space I care about.
I think it's easier for women, like the extremes on both sides, and I've said this before, there's 10% over here and 10% over here, then there's 80% in the middle.
Yeah.
The middle, roughly the middle ground. But when nothing is happening, if you're not, let's say we just had the Great Resignation, right? So many people have decided, fuck this shit, I'm out. Even corporate America, downsizing, right-sizing, whatever, because they're starting to prioritize quality of life, relationships, interpersonal stuff over the hustle and bustle. Now, you've had things that have become, to make it easier, you know, distance working and things like that, we can make it, you know, more acceptable. But now, so now people have choice. You have a choice. And same thing in the sexual marketplace, in the dating marketplace. If you're on this extreme or that extreme, it's easy to be a rabid this or a diehard that, when the actuality is you want a relationship, you just want it to, don't want it to fail. And one of the biggest points of failure I've heard from women is, you know, things were going right, but the sexual thing wasn't right. And guys need to know that this is something they can do something about before it ends and it's just irreconcilable differences or something like that.
So here's what I wanted to reflect back on you and get your thoughts on this. what I've seen in the dating market, and I think the pain point that's kind of coming right now between men and women, is that there's a particular percentage of the internet population who's asking women to ask for less. Because they're like, your standards are too high, you want too much, and they enjoy seeing those women being told that they need to ask for less. But what that women many of the times are looking for is somebody who's equally yoked, at least bare minimum financially, right? So if they have achieved a certain level of success, they're looking for a partner who's achieving financial success. And then sexually, women have become liberated. They are learning more about their bodies. They are becoming more vocal about that. And as a result, maybe they're having more partners. And then men, instead of saying, I'm also going to liberate and educate myself, they're asking women for less.
Okay.
They're saying, you should have less sexual partners, you should be less curious. So instead of rising to the occasion to meet women where they are, advancements, they're asking women to come back down a notch.
And this is where she lost it, right here. This is where she loses me. She lost me in the sauce, and I hope Kevin is going to correct this, but this is where she lost everything in the sauce. I don't think that men are asking women to ask for less. Now, I think that men are asking women to stop thinking that you can go out here and have sex with all of these guys and still expect a high value man or a man of value to still value you. Stop going out here having sex and having children by these guys of low value and expect a man of higher value to take care of you and to take care of your child. These men value something a little bit different. And the unfortunate thing that we have ran into in these later years is everybody has been feeding women these lies and these fairy tales, and unfortunately they're believing them. So the guys that I know, the guys that I watch, have just basically been telling these women, stop believing them. If you honestly want to get with a guy, then stop getting with so many guys. Stop being out here putting your titties and your ass online and showing off all of your assets and all that other thing, thinking that you're going to attract a man of value. If anything, you're going to run him off. And it's one thing to attract a man and keep his attention over time, and hopefully that leads to a relationship or even marriage. But when you do these things, understand you're going to attract men of lesser value, and those guys that may have value attached to them, they're not trying to be with a woman like this long term. It's just for sex or just for hookup or whatever. It's all short term. But if you want to get and keep that man's attention, that man of value that I'm speaking of, then stop thinking like this. Stop thinking that you can do what men do and get away with it. Men and women are completely different. They don't operate under the same. Understand that. You're not the same.
Okay.
Come on.
What's the question you want me to respond on?
Because you know she just went off.
Respond to.
I think do you think a part of the problem here is that men don't have role models and don't have educators and don't know where to go, and instead of seeking those out or doing a self-education process, they think that the solution is to get women who are getting ahead in this area to come back down to their level?
We're talking about, okay, let's talk about the first one, the advancement piece of it. And get it all in one place. I think that's one of the things that separated my content. When I start talking about this, high value man is not a Kevin Samuels creation. It's been around forever. I've heard women talk about it.
Listen, I have not seen this thing. This is my very first time watching it, but I feel like he's coming to my exact point.
For years, men talk about it for years. I just kind of put some parameters around it. And right, wrong, or indifferent, when talking to women, especially these days, they tend to want
high value.
Traditionally, what we consider to fall in the top 20%, the Petro principle. Okay? Because I think I heard you also mention something about, men need to step up, they're underachieving, we need to get more guys in college and things like that. And
I don't know about the college thing, but
I'm talking about the guys who are already in that position, maybe from a resource standpoint, or at least a mindset to get those kind of resources. They tend to have more, I won't say options, but
They do.
But I guess there's like to go off topic, but there's the golden penis syndrome, which is a term that's used to describe economics right now, which is that
What the hell is going on? What is this? What is a golden penis?
women since the 1980s have been graduating from post-secondary schools, and now, actually since the 2000s, are graduating with doctorates at a higher rate than men are.
PhD.
Yeah, so, and not to say that, of course, that education is the way to a better life, but sociology will tell you that this is closest to the sure shotest way. Maybe that's changed with crypto, I'm not quite sure, but nonetheless, that women are giving themselves an undeniable base for earning potential, and because men aren't coming to universities and colleges, that's a part of it. So you've got men who have golden penis syndrome, that if you are financially well off, or you are university educated, you are in a position to have similar earning potential, there's less of you, so women have to compete for you more.
I think this is where the mismarketing, I think, comes into play, because according to the numbers, like especially in the black community, we got like women have $1.7 trillion in debt. So when it's all sorted out, the average black man is earning $40,500. The average black woman is earning $37,000. So the average white man earning $51,000. So like there's $11,000 difference. So regardless of the education, the numbers, men are still out earning women. We don't also factor in a lot of guys are choosing not to go to college or choosing to go to trade school. Because we have science, technology, engineering, math are careers where you can actually increase your amount of earnings versus if you just went to business administration, things like that. So
the STEM would be a part of the education. I actually have to look into the earning potential, because I know specifically for black women who are amongst one of the most educated groups, and I went to an HBCU, and I can tell you anecdotally the difference.
And of course it's going to be anecdotally. I think that black women aren't the most educated, they're the most enrolled.
Earnings, and the difference that I see in general in terms of representation when I go to corporations. So I'm fascinated, especially given the incarceration rate, that black men are out earning black women.
There's a website that you and your viewers can look at. It's called blackdemographics.com. So they take data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Department of Health, Census. In the black community, 74% of black women earn less than $50,000. Only 9% earn more than $74,000. And then, it is not...
What I absolutely love about every single last one of his talking points is that he always backs his stuff up with facts, data, and statistics. My bad.
It's uncommon, like on my show, to hear women who are $50, $100, $200, $400,000 in debt.
Yes.
So,
Damn.
I agree that college, for some, is a potential indicator of future success. When the loan reaches low, it tends to come down into the actual dollars. And what the issue tends to be is women, hypergamy. And women tend to want men to have equally what they want. So one of the bigger issues, especially in the 90s, were white-collar women not willing to date blue-collar men. Motherfucker, please, you work for UPS. It's like, wait a minute. You're working for a firm downtown, but I'm working for UPS or GM, and I'm making $70,000 and you're making $40,000.
I was going to say, the debt thing, because I'm in $1 million of debt. I own a home.
What?
So, does that,
It's college debt. It's college debt.
Okay.
So, I guess, and the biggest thing, especially like, there's a study called Black Men Making It in America by the American Enterprise Institute. 54% of black men single, childless, 61% in the middle class, and 2.5 million in the upper class. The thing black men have been told for the longest is you're underperforming, you're undereducated, and not keeping up. But that's where I kind of started getting interested, because I'm like, I look around and see a lot of guys like myself who are unmarried, who want a relationship, but and this is where we kind of get into more cultural or racial things. In our particular community, it's not really mirrored, or it's not really, we're not really taught this stuff. So our relationship tend to be mirrored to us by athletics, entertainment, musicians, young, youth, so 30 and under. You look at the space between 31 and up, what are the role models for relationship? And that's why you hear so many people going all the way back to where the Cosbys.
Yeah. Heard that a lot. And those other shows that were.
So I would.
It really does sound like our audiences should get together, because my audience is coastal, university educated, probably high earning in their family at least, or lifestyle changing in their family, single women, usually women of color, who are struggling to find equally yoked mates. And it sounds like your demographic is made up of something very similar from a man's perspective.
Give you an example. That's what actually made my show take off, because high value, so many women start calling in. So if you look at some of my earlier shows before Average at Best, doctor, lawyer, Chicago, New York, Seattle, LA, Dallas, Houston. But what it comes right down to is, what I did is I was hearing men equally yoked and women saying, where are all these men? And I'm like, so what I did is I have a Facebook group. It's called The Mix. All I did, I'm a matchmaker.
The Mix.
I took men and asked them based on the questions: age, marital status, do you want a marriage, where do you work, what's your LinkedIn profile, just some basic stuff. I kind of updated it, kind of looked through. And I asked women, all right, same kind of questions, but not as much as men. And most things you want in relationships. I put, at the time, 400 men, 400 women in this group. Okay? And I kind of just said it over there. I come back, relationship, 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 relationship. There are 6 marriages that have happened.
Dope.
I posted on my Instagram,
Dope.
an attorney, successful personal injury attorney, Brother Sterling, he's several $1 million. His kids are like, you want children like the kids he has. His boys are in martial arts and foreign languages and this and that.
Wow.
And he was a single dad for the longest. Nice man. He has a great relationship with his exes. But he was done. He was about to move to the Dominican Republic. I told him to join my group. And he finally did it. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll join it. In a week. With his his Ivy League educated fiance.
Wow.
I need a link to this Facebook group. It sounds phenomenal.
Well, my point is, he's here and she was in another part of the country. Now, they are getting married. It just built out this home. He's putting her through law school. It's everything that black women say they wanted, and all I did was put them in proximity. I just checked back in on this group yesterday. These women are having lunches, teas, been networking, business is getting done. And I'm sitting back and I'm finding out about relationships that happened. And none of them were in the same place. So what that did is it told me, I'm like, well, we're not that separated. We just don't know how.
Man, shout out to my dog Kevin Samuels, man. When I tell you, conversations like that, like, I'm glad it ended up, you know what I mean, ended up where it was, man. That was dope, man. That was freaking dope. Oh my goodness. But in the end, man, what they were basically talking about, of course, you know, they did talk about the little sex thing for a little while, but man, it's definitely unfortunate that he's not here anymore, but he did some really, really good work, some dope work, man. Starting the conversation and having facts, data, and statistics to back those things up. The other young lady, I'm not sure who she is, where she came from, or whatever, but I mean, she had to be important for him to do a one-on-one with her. But everything that she was saying was like, you know, things that she seen with her own 2 eyes, and she wasn't really able to back those things up to illustrate her points. But again, it is so freaking fortunate that he started the conversation about these things, you know what I mean? Like, most guys, you know, they weren't really vocal about the things that they like and the things that they dislike. But he led the freaking charge, and I honestly believe that there's not going to be anybody on earth that's going to be able to fill those doggone shoes, man. As far as the things that he done, the things that he was able to accomplish in a short amount of time, and all the things, like the things that he done while he was doing it, like opening guys' eyes to their appearance. You know, the importance of having and owning a suit, you know, fragrance, frames, footwear, like all these things that most guys like myself, you know, you got a lot of guys that, you know, we're athletes. So in high school, it was just a hoodie, you know what I'm saying, and maybe some shorts, jogging pants or whatever. But after listening to him and, you know, I actually had a suit that was actually tailored, man, and just everything that comes along with it. Like, I had people opening up doors for me, you know, smiling, greeting me. I'm just like, wow, man. I mean, it's freaking insane. And, you know, he talked about therapy as well. And, you know, my community, man, we hear about therapy, oh, you crazy. Therapy is for crazy people. It's like, no, you know, everybody has been through trauma and stuff in life that they've never been able to really sit down and really go through that thing and have a professional, not your friend, not your girlfriend, not your, you know, none of this stuff, no, a professional to sit down with you and help you navigate through all of those things. Any trauma that you have went through or that you're going through, it's people out there that can honestly help you. You know, emotional, like all of those things, man, you know, especially for the men. Like, it's okay to tell someone that, you know, I'm not feeling this, or, you know, when you did this, I felt some type of way. I'm gonna be honest with you. Instead of, one way we used to think, you know, if you talk about your feelings, then you were soft. And men were taught to shut up and just accept it, just take it, happy wife, happy life, all of this BS that they've been trying to sell us for so long, and agreeing with the body shaming, all of these different things, man. And he just opened our eyes to everything that was going on. And it was like, you know what? I don't have to sit here and take this mess and put up with this mess without me being vocal or letting somebody know. Because their stress is like the #1 silent killer, alright? Just sitting there and dealing with stress, and all you have to do is just open up your mouth and let somebody know how you feel. But shout out to my dog Kevin Sanders, man. This was dope. I had a great time checking this video out, man. We may do some more reviews or some more reactions to videos like this. I will say this, man. I'm going to be going in a slightly different direction moving forward, man. It was a young lady that commented up under my status today, and you know, we were somewhat kind of going back and forth, you know what I mean? And I was basically letting her know, listen, I'm not in the convincing business at all. And if that's what you honestly want to believe, then I'm gonna let you rock with it or whatever. But it still kind of bothered me that she honestly believed this mess. So, I mean, I'm trying to see if I can pull up the exact thing. Celibacy, no, it wasn't that. The exact post. Yeah, it was women are purposely staying single because men aren't men anymore. Was that it? Was that a post? No, that wasn't a post. No, that wasn't a post. Hold on. Oh, no, here it is. This is the post, my bad. So here's the post. The post is, so everybody done seen your, you know what, in your basically your butt and your cat. So what's left for your husband? I don't know if you guys have seen it on social media now. They have been sharing these little stories where they're showing all of their goods, man. You know, guys too. There's some dudes out there too that's probably doing this as well, man. But you know, I've been seeing a lot of women say, "Go check out my story. Go check out my story." I haven't seen, if I ever catch any guy that's on my doggone page that says some mess like that, you automatically delete it and block, bro. Don't play it over. Anyway, you know, go check out my story. Go check out my story. And on these stories, man, you know, they are showing all of their private areas. It's like they have no freaking respect for themselves. And, you know, a young lady, she jumped up under there or whatever, and we had a conversation, and she was basically just saying, hold on, let me make sure, I'm not gonna, you know, say the young lady's name or whatever, but but actually children was, so she was trying to make the argument, what's left for him is to actually touch it, to actually feel it, to actually, engage or whatever. And she basically said, these women are suckering men out of their money. They don't even get to breathe the same air. There was never going to be anything extra, just some little coins or whatever. Don't look like marriage, for most people nowadays. And she basically said, marriage doesn't seem like it's for most people nowadays anyway, sadly. We should all be naked anyway. And what I tried to get her to understand, I was like, basically I don't know where you're getting your information from, because most of the women that I've talked to, converse with, most of them are very, very vocal that they at least want to be in a relationship. If it's not married, they at least want to be in a relationship. And the ones that do want to be married. Just think about it like this, because the man has to propose, or you're going to be in a relationship with a man, right? And when you think about most respectable men, not even high value or, men of value, whatever, most respectable men do not want their woman to be out here showing all their goods off to the world. Let's keep it a band, hold on. Let's keep it a band, man. All right, here we go. Yeah. When they see that they're running for the doggone hills, if you honestly want a man to take you serious, that's something that you should always keep sacred, right? I'm saying all this to get to a point. You should always want to keep those things sacred. So if there's anything else that you can do to earn money, then do that. Explore those options. Don't always try to resort back to things like this and then play the victim Olympics and say that this is the only way that you can make some extra income, on the side or whatever. There are plenty of jobs out there that you can do where you don't have to be out here showing off your body, man, your body parts. It's unacceptable. So what I'm going to do is, this is the whole purpose of me saying that. I was conversing with that young lady today, and I basically just let her know, you know what, I'm going to debunk everything that you just said. You said that this was pretty much the only way that you can make. She was like $1,000, bro. This is $1,000 or $1,300 a month. This is the only way that she can make that extra money to help support her and her children is by showing her body parts off online. So I'm going to debunk that. Alright, starting next week, I've already been looking at some stuff online, man. We're going to be doing like little small things here and there where you can earn maybe $100 per day or maybe more than $100 per day with these little things that I come up with. Each and every day, I'm going to try to find a way, just to show you there are so many different ways out there that you can earn money, and that should not be an excuse. You know what I mean? Like you do not have to resort to showing your body parts online. Those parts of you are sacred. Keep those things covered. Don't just be out here showing everybody your goods, man. So that's what we're gonna do, man. I don't know, we may do this once a week, twice a week, or something like that, man. And a lot of people have a lot of free time on their hands, so this is just my way to just debunk that, man. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing this BS, man, and it's going through my head even right now. We're going to debunk that. You do not have to be on social media showing off your doggone body parts. There are other ways that you can earn a decent income without doing that. Alright, anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. I'm going to end this live video. We're about to go downstairs, get a little workout in because it is time. 30 minutes, we got to get it. Alright, so y'all be blessed, y'all be beautiful, man, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alright, peace.